The reluctant departure. Olivia Winters adjusted her glasses and smoothed down her blouse for the third time, her reflection in the elevator's polished brass doors betraying her nervousness. After 3 years at Horizon Technologies, today would be her last, if everything went according to plan. The letter of resignation felt heavy in her blazer pocket. Future Tech's offer had been too good to refuse. Better pay, flexible hours, and most importantly, a chance to work closer to her aging parents. The decision should have been simple, yet something kept tugging at her conscience. The elevator chimed as it reached the executive floor, its doors opening to reveal the sleek, minimalist design that characterized Theodore Blackwood's vision. Potted plants brought life to the otherwise monochromatic space, their vibrant green a stark contrast to the whites and grays dominating the office. "He's expecting you," said Veronica, Blackwood's assistant, with a knowing smile. "Good luck." Olivia nodded, wondering if news of her resignation had already spread. Taking a deep breath, she knocked on the imposing mahogany door. "Come in," called a voice that had commanded respect across Silicon Valley for over a decade. Theodore Blackwood stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, his tall frame silhouetted against the San Francisco skyline. At 45, his dark hair was peppered with gray, adding to the gravitas he naturally exuded. He turned, his expression unreadable. "Olivia, please sit." He gestured to the chair across from his desk, closing his laptop before taking his seat. "Mr. Blackwood, I think I know why you're here," he interrupted, his voice surprisingly gentle. "Veronica mentioned you requested this meeting with unusual urgency." Olivia swallowed hard, extracting the envelope from her pocket. "Yes, I've received an offer from Future Tech that I've decided to accept. I'm submitting my resignation, effective 2 weeks from today." She placed the envelope on his desk, expecting the cool efficiency with which Blackwood typically handled business matters. Instead, he didn't touch it. "Before you finalize this decision," he said, leaning forward slightly, "there's something I need to show you." He opened a drawer and withdrew a tablet, tapping it a few times before passing it to her. On the screen was a presentation labeled Project Prometheus. "This is what your team will be working on next month. A revolutionary healthcare algorithm that could predict disease progression with 95% accuracy, making preventative care accessible to millions." Olivia scrolled through the slides, her analytical mind immediately grasping the implications. This could have saved... She stopped herself. "Your brother," Blackwood finished quietly. "I remember your story, Olivia. Pancreatic cancer, detected too late." She looked up, surprised he had remembered such a personal detail shared during a company retreat 2 years ago. "Future Tech is offering you more money. Probably better benefits," he continued, his normally commanding voice now carrying an unusual emotional weight. "But they're not working on anything like this. This project needs your specific expertise in pattern recognition. Without you, we might lose months, perhaps years. Time that countless families like yours don't have." Olivia stared at the tablet, torn between her personal needs and the potential impact of this work. "I'm not asking you to stay forever," Blackwood said, his eyes revealing a vulnerability she'd never witnessed before. "Just until Prometheus is operational. 6 months maximum." He paused. "Please, Olivia. Some decisions transcend business. This is one of them." The resignation letter sat untouched between them. A crossroads materialized in paper and ink. Beneath the surface, 2 weeks after her fateful meeting with Blackwood, Olivia found herself deeply immersed in Project Prometheus. Her resignation letter remained in her desk drawer, unsealed but unretracted, a physical reminder of her temporary commitment. The specialized team occupied a secure floor of Horizon Technologies, accessible only to those with top-level clearance. Olivia's workstation was surrounded by screens displaying complex algorithms and data streams that would eventually form the backbone of their healthcare prediction system. "You're here early again," remarked Julian Parker as he placed a coffee on her desk. Tall with warm brown eyes and a perpetually thoughtful expression, Julian had been with Horizon since its founding days as head of cybersecurity. His technical brilliance was matched only by his discretion, making him one of the few people Blackwood trusted implicitly. "Just trying to solve this sequence anomaly," Olivia replied, gratefully accepting the coffee. "Something's not adding up in the financial allocation reports." Julian's expression shifted subtly. "What kind of anomaly?" Olivia pulled up a spreadsheet. See these transfers? They're coded as research expenditures for Prometheus, but they're being routed through 3 separate shell companies before reaching their final destination. Perhaps it's just tax optimization, Julian offered, but his tone lacked conviction. Maybe. But why would a project this important need to hide its spending? Olivia minimized the window as Director Patel walked by. I've cross-referenced the timestamps with our research milestones. The transfers increase whenever we make significant progress. Julian glanced around before pulling up a chair. Olivia, I should probably tell you something. His voice dropped to barely above a whisper. You're not the first person to notice discrepancies in Horizon's financials. What do you mean? Remember Damon Wesley from accounting? Everyone thought he left for a startup last year. Julian's eyes held a warning. He was asking similar questions before his sudden departure. A chill ran down Olivia's spine. Are you suggesting? I'm not suggesting anything, Julian replied carefully. Just that curiosity at Horizon sometimes leads to unexpected career changes. Olivia's mind raced. Blackwood's impassioned plea about saving lives had seemed genuine. Was it possible there was something darker beneath Prometheus's humanitarian veneer? The algorithm you're perfecting, Julian continued, it's revolutionary. But have you considered who controls the data once it's operational? Who decides which treatments get prioritized? Which patient profiles receive attention? Before Olivia could respond, her phone buzzed with a message from Blackwood. Progress update meeting. My office, 4 p.m. Be careful, Julian warned as he stood to leave. And if you need anything, my encryption protocols are always available. Later that day, riding the elevator to Blackwood's office, Olivia couldn't shake Julian's words. As the doors opened, she noticed Veronica's desk was empty, unusual for the dedicated assistant. Blackwood welcomed her with uncharacteristic warmth, gesturing to a holographic display of Prometheus's architecture. Remarkable progress, Olivia. Your pattern recognition modifications have improved prediction accuracy by 12%. Thank you, sir. I sense hesitation. Blackwood's piercing gaze locked with hers. Something troubling you? Olivia decided to test the waters. Just some inconsistencies in the financial reporting. Probably administrative oversights. Blackwood's expression remained neutral, but Olivia noticed his hand tighten slightly around his stylus. Send the details to Veronica. She'll straighten it out. He smoothly changed topics. I'm actually expanding your access level. There's a private server containing medical data I'd like you to incorporate into the algorithm. He handed her a specialized access card. This data is sensitive, company eyes only. As Olivia left his office, the weight of unanswered questions hung heavy in the air. In her hand, the access card seemed to pulse with possibility. Whether of answers or deeper danger, she couldn't yet tell. That night, Olivia stayed late, waiting until the office emptied. Using Julian's security protocols and her new access card, she opened the restricted server. What she found made her blood run cold. The hidden truth. The restricted server contained thousands of medical files. Not anonymized research data as Olivia had expected, but detailed patient records with full histories and genetic profiles. Most alarmingly, they all shared a rare genetic marker associated with Asherton's disease, a degenerative condition affecting fewer than 5,000 people worldwide. Olivia's fingers flew across her keyboard, heart pounding as she dug deeper. The financial anomalies now connected to a pattern. Substantial payments to underground research labs known for experimental treatments. Labs that operated outside FDA oversight. A soft noise behind her made Olivia spin around in her chair. I figured you'd access it tonight, said Julian, stepping from the shadows. Your security bypass was elegant, but I designed the system to alert me of any unusual access patterns. Julian, do you know what this is? Olivia gestured wildly at her screen. Blackwood is funneling company resources into researching a rare disease that has nothing to do with Prometheus's stated goals. He's breaking every corporate governance rule in the book. Julian pulled up a chair beside her. There's more to it. Look at this. He typed a command that brought up a personnel file. Blackwood has a daughter, Elise. They've been estranged for years, but she was diagnosed with Asherton's disease 2 years ago. He's using company resources to save his daughter? Olivia whispered, not just her. Julian opened another file. His research targets the specific genetic mutation common to all Asherton's patients. If successful, it could help everyone with the condition. The board would never approve diverting resources from profitable ventures to research a disease affecting so few people. Olivia leaned back, processing this revelation. So Prometheus is a cover? Partially. The core predictive healthcare algorithm is real, and it will work as promised. But Blackwood designed it to be adaptable. Once perfected, the same technology could revolutionize treatment for Asherton's disease. Julian's expression was conflicted. He's breaking rules, yes, but potentially saving thousands. Including his daughter, Olivia added. Including his daughter, Julian confirmed. I've been helping him for 6 months. I was hoping you might too, once you understood. Olivia stood abruptly. I need to think. This isn't what I signed up for. As she gathered her things, a notification appeared on her screen, an email from Damon Wesley, the former accountant Julian had mentioned. Subject, what I found at Horizon. With trembling fingers, Olivia opened it. The message contained a single video file. Damon's face appeared, looking haggard and nervous. If you're watching this, you've found what I found. Blackwood isn't just researching Asherton's disease. He's already testing treatments on volunteer patients. Some have shown improvement, but there have been complications. 2 deaths that were quietly covered up. I confronted him and was offered a generous severance package and strong encouragement to forget everything. I'm sending this as insurance. Be smarter than I was. The video ended, leaving Olivia stunned. Did you know about this? She demanded, turning to Julian. His pained expression answered before his words did. I knew about 1 death. An elderly patient with advanced symptoms who likely wouldn't have survived another 6 months regardless. Blackwood was devastated. He's experimenting on desperate people, Julian. People who volunteered knowing the risks, Julian countered. People who had been abandoned by traditional medicine. Olivia grabbed her bag, heading for the door. I need time to process this. Don't tell Blackwood what I found. Julian caught her arm gently. Olivia, remember why you stayed? Your brother died because his cancer wasn't detected early enough. Prometheus can prevent that for millions. And these Asherton's patients, they're out of conventional options. What would your brother have done if offered an experimental treatment when all else had failed? The question hung in the air between them as Olivia pulled away, her moral compass spinning wildly as she left the building and stepped into the cool night air. The moral dilemma. For 3 days, Olivia avoided Horizon Technologies, calling in sick while she grappled with her discovery. Her apartment became a war room of ethical debate, walls covered with notes as she mapped out every angle of the situation. On one side, Blackwood's unauthorized use of company resources, experimental treatments conducted outside regulatory oversight, and 2 deaths that had been concealed. On the other, a revolutionary healthcare algorithm that could save millions, including people like her brother, and a potential treatment for an otherwise fatal disease that the pharmaceutical industry had deemed too rare to merit significant research. On the morning of the 4th day, her doorbell rang. Theodore Blackwood stood in her hallway, looking more human than she'd ever seen him, tired without his usual commanding presence. May I come in? He asked simply. Olivia hesitated before stepping aside. Her apartment's disarray told its own story of her internal struggle. Blackwood surveyed the notes on her walls without comment, before turning to her. Julian told me everything. I know what you found. Why are you here? Olivia crossed her arms defensively. To show you something I should have shown you from the beginning. He pulled out his phone and opened a photo gallery. This is Elise, my daughter. The photo showed a young woman in her 20s, her progression through Asherton's disease painfully evident, from a vibrant college graduate to a frail figure in a wheelchair. We haven't spoken in years, Blackwood continued. Family disagreements that seem meaningless now. I learned about her diagnosis through a mutual friend. His voice grew strained. By then she was refusing my calls, my help. So I helped the only way I could, by developing treatments she and others might access even if she never knew they came from me. You could have done it legally, Olivia argued, with proper oversight. I tried. Bitterness edged into his voice. 3 years of navigating red tape while patients died waiting. The board blocked my proposals for researching unprofitable conditions. So yes, I created Prometheus as a dual-purpose project and diverted resources. I recruited volunteers willing to try experimental treatments because they had no alternatives. And the two who died, pain flashed across his face. Margaret Chen, 67, and Robert Fontaine, 52, both in late stages of Asherton's, both fully informed of the risks. Their families still support our work because they understood what we're trying to achieve. Olivia sank onto her couch. Why involve me in all this? Because your pattern recognition work is the missing piece. The algorithm you're perfecting can identify which genetic variants respond to which treatments, potentially eliminating the risk factors that led to those two deaths. Blackwood sat beside her. I'm not asking you to break laws, Olivia. I'm asking you to help me find a way to do this right. By continuing to hide the truth? No. By helping me transition this work into legitimate channels. He leaned forward earnestly. The preliminary results are promising enough now to attract proper funding and regulatory support. 6 more months of your work could generate enough evidence to convince the medical establishment that Asherton's treatment deserves priority. Olivia stood, pacing her small living room. And if I go to the board instead? Or regulatory authorities? Then Prometheus gets shut down. The Asherton's research disappears. The treatments we've developed remain untested, and people like my daughter lose their best chance. His gaze was steady. I won't stop you, Olivia, but I'm asking you to consider all the lives in the balance. As he left, Blackwood placed a flash drive on her coffee table. This contains everything. All research, all patient data, all financial records. Whatever you decide, do it with complete information. That night, Olivia reviewed everything on the drive. Among the files was a video from one of the patients, a young mother named Regina, who had shown remarkable improvement after 3 months of treatment. Before Dr. Blackwood's program, I couldn't hold my baby, Regina said, tears streaming down her face as she cradled her infant son. Now I can. I don't know how much time I have, but every moment I can hold him is a miracle. Dawn found Olivia still awake, her decision finally crystallizing as the first rays of sunlight filtered through her window. The silent promise Olivia arrived at Horizon Technologies at 7 a.m., determination fueling her steps as she made her way to Blackwood's office. He was already there, as if he'd been waiting. I've made my decision, she announced without preamble, placing a comprehensive proposal on his desk. Blackwood looked at the title page. Project Phoenix, Legitimate Integration Framework for Prometheus and Asherton's Research. I'm not helping you continue as you have been, Olivia stated firmly. But I'm not exposing you either. Instead, I'm offering a third path. Over the next hour, she outlined her proposal. Prometheus would continue officially, but with a transparent secondary objective focused on rare disease application. The Asherton's research would be properly documented and submitted through accelerated approval channels. With all previous data anonymized but disclosed to regulators. You'll face penalties, she acknowledged, significant ones. But the research can continue legally, and the patients won't lose access to treatments. The board will never approve this pivot, Blackwood argued. They've rejected similar proposals 3 times. They will if we demonstrate the market potential. Olivia pulled up a presentation she'd prepared overnight. Rare disease treatments command premium pricing and generate immense goodwill. More importantly, the predictive technology we're developing has applications far beyond what you've envisioned. She showed him projections where Prometheus could reduce healthcare costs by billions while identifying treatment candidates for dozens of conditions. This isn't charity versus profit. It's short-term profit versus long-term transformation. Blackwood studied her proposal, his expression gradually shifting from skepticism to cautious hope. You've thought of everything, but there's still the matter of my previous indiscretions. Which is why I'll be overseeing compliance personally, Olivia stated. As the new Director of Ethical Innovation, a position you'll create as part of this restructuring. A hint of his old smile appeared. You drive a hard bargain for someone who was leaving 2 weeks ago. I'm not staying for you, Olivia replied. I'm staying for Regina, who can hold her baby again. For the millions who might benefit from Prometheus. And yes, for people like my brother who might have lived with earlier detection. She extended her hand.
Do we have a deal?
After a moment's hesitation, Blackwood shook it. We do. The transition wasn't easy. Blackwood faced significant financial penalties and a temporary suspension from operational control. The board initially resisted but eventually embraced the new direction, when major healthcare partners expressed interest in the expanded vision. 6 months later, Olivia stood in a research lab, watching as Elise Blackwood, now a registered patient in their legitimate trial program, received her treatment. Though she still refused direct contact with her father, she had unknowingly become the beneficiary of his controversial choices. "She's responding well," Julian commented, reviewing the latest results, "as are 82% of patients in the trial. And Prometheus's main algorithm has exceeded our accuracy targets," Olivia added. "The FDA fast-tracked it for approval yesterday." Theodore Blackwood observed his daughter through the lab's window, maintaining the distance she had requested. "Was it worth it?" he asked quietly. "All the risks, the ethical compromises?" Olivia considered the question carefully. "The ends don't justify the means," she finally replied. "But sometimes we find the right path only after taking a wrong turn. What matters is correcting course when we see the truth." He nodded, understanding the subtle forgiveness in her words. As they walked back to the main building, Olivia reflected on her decision to stay. What had begun as a reluctant 6-month commitment had evolved into something she couldn't have imagined, a chance to transform healthcare while redefining ethical innovation. Between her and Blackwood now existed an unspoken understanding, a silent promise to honor both the letter and spirit of their agreement. Not just for Elise or for profit, but for all the Reginas who could now hold their children, and all the brothers and sisters who might be saved by detecting diseases before they turned deadly. Sometimes, Olivia realized the most important crossroads don't announce themselves. They appear as ordinary moments, like a resignation letter left in a drawer, or a decision to look more closely at numbers that don't add up. And sometimes, staying can change more than leaving ever could.